Pre-trial.
The record will reflect the presence of multiple parties of the defendant is present, may be seated. The jury is present, and you understand that you're sworn.
Yes.
Thank you. You may proceed with your side.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Weiss, where we left off at, we were going to address State's Exhibit 108. I think you have it up there with you. That's been marked for identification.
Unless we all have really good memories, we're going to have a hard time.
Oh. I didn't even notice that. Sorry, Judge.
I didn't either. Oh.
We'll have to do that again.
When we started already.
Okay, we are running out of everything.
Okay, we're going to repeat.
Recalling criminal case 16-1-0133, State of Hawaii versus Stephen Capobianco, jury trial.
The record reflects the presence of multiple parties. The defendant is present, the jury is present. Do you understand that you're still in the room?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Thank you. You may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, where we left off at, Ms. Weiss, we are going to address State's Exhibit 108 as marked for identification, and you have it up there in front of you. Can you please take a look at that? Okay, so you testified earlier that Max had laid a blanket on the rock along with the jeans and the jacket with the hood. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Now, do you recognize that photograph there?
Yes, I do.
And is it, oh, first of all, what is it?
It's Charlie's blanket, the gray jacket, and the black pants.
Is that the rock that, when you testified earlier, is that the rock you were referring to that it was laid upon?
Yes.
And does it accurately depict how you saw it after these items were laid in that manner?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state would move into evidence State's Exhibit 108, which has been marked for identification.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 108, marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence. You may proceed.
Your Honor, this time permission to publish those exhibits.
Permission to publish is granted. If you'd like the witness to step down, she may do so. And there's a pointer there if you want.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Okay, let's start first off.
You can step.
Okay, we'll start first with State's Exhibit 125, which is already in evidence. Now, you testified that you had passed a refrigerator in order to get back to the truck, Molly's red truck, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you please, is that depicted here in State's Exhibit 125?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Is that shown here?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, using the pointer, can you just point that out for us, please?
It's right here.
And Your Honor, the record should reflect that Ms. Weiss, using the pointer, has indicated to a rectangular object that's to the right middle of the photograph. Now, looking at the photograph, in which direction would can you tell which direction that the truck would have been?
It would have probably been right over here.
Okay, so you're pointing to the upper middle part of the photograph?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now turning your attention to State's, the next photograph, I believe it's, yeah. State's Exhibit 118. Can you tell us what we're looking at here, please?
That is Charlie's tank top.
And do you see anything else in the photo besides the tank top?
It does look like her black skirt is underneath it.
And you said you've seen this before.
Yes.
Now moving to State's Exhibit 119. And what are we looking at over here?
That is her shirt and her skirt. Charlie's.
And moving to state, well, at this point, you said, well, let's move on. State's Exhibit 120. And what are we looking at over here?
That is Charlie's skirt, her shirt, and the Twilight DVD.
Now, how did the Twilight DVD get in that area, if you know? I mean, in that picture, not that area.
That was when Molly had set it down on top of that.
Okay, now showing you State's Exhibit 108, which is in evidence. And can you tell us what we're looking at over here, please?
That is Charlie's green blanket, the gray jacket, and black pants.
Okay, and looking at the green blanket, you testified earlier that it was covered with maggots. Is that shown there in the blanket?
Yes, it is shown.
Okay, what we're going to do right now is just enlarge the same picture. And I'm going to ask you if you could, using the pointer, show us the maggots that you observed. Okay, just using the pointer, can you show us that?
They're more right here, but they're kind of all over.
Okay, Ms. Weiss, you're going to have to speak louder than that, please.
There's a lot right here, but they're kind of spread out along the blanket.
Okay, and when you say there's a lot right here, you're pointing to the upper right-hand area of the screen. And you're pointing, are you pointing to the white dots that are on the blanket?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can have a seat. On our showing council, what has been marked for identification is State's Exhibit 17, or 117, I'm sorry. You know, may I approach?
You may do so.
Thank you. Ms. Weiss, I'm going to have you take a look at State's Exhibit 117, which has been marked for identity.
I mean, I asked the picture be taken down if they're not being used.
Yes. You're referring to, that was State's...
108.
Sorry?
120?
Or was it?
That was when
Well, the one that was just showing, I'm sorry.
It should be 108.
108. 108.
All right, 108, thank you.
Okay, do you recognize that exhibit there, State's Exhibit 117?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what is it?
It is my pink spot from when I was at Paraquats.
And how were you able to preserve or get that photograph?
I had just went onto the app. It did take me a while to get the actual satellite view of it, but I just zoomed in where I was and took the screenshot.
And is that an accurate depiction of the screenshot you took at the Paraquats area back on Thursday, February 13th?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would move into evidence State's Exhibit 117, which is marked for identification.
Mr.
No objection at this time, yes.
State's Exhibit number 117, marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence.
And your Honor, permission to publish that?
Permission to publish is granted.
And may Ms. Weiss step down and approach the screen. Thank you. Okay. Again, Ms. Weiss, using the pointer, can you tell us what we're looking at here? What are the markings on this screenshot?
Well, this is my ping from me at that night.
Okay, can you describe what your ping is?
it just pretty much shows my name and my location.
And let me just make a record of that. The record should reflect that Ms. Weiss with the pointer has indicated to a square box with the name Phaedra on it that's in the upper middle part of the photograph. Or of the, I'm sorry, of the screenshot. Okay, and what else are we looking at there?
The Paracots area, this is the Hana Highway, and the bridge would be right over here.
Okay, and just for the record, the Hana Highway is marked, it says Hana Highway, and it's in a light gray area that's, looks like a bend in the road. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said the bridge area is where?
It's right about at the tip of the bend.
Okay, and you're indicating to the tip of the bend on Hana Highway, which is more towards the bottom left-hand corner of the screenshot.
Yes.
Now, is it in that screenshot, is the river area depicted or shown?
Not too much.
Can you tell where the river area would be from that screenshot?
Would be right here. This is what I'm assuming is the river from when I was looking.
Okay, so the areas that you're pointing to, you're going down in a diagonal motion, starting from the upper middle part.
So, Your Honor, counsel's blocking, I believe, jurors' views.
Oh, excuse me, I apologize. You're pointing to a darker shaded area within the green that's moving from the upper right-hand corner down to the, in the direction of the left-hand corner, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, that exact location where it says Phaedra.
I would dispute the record. I think it was going towards the middle of the screen rather than the left-hand corner of the screen.
You know, I'm talking about the direction.
No, he's testifying, but if he's creating a record as to what she was pointing to, I believe she was tracing the black mark basically to where her face shot was, not the left-hand corner. It's the middle of the screen. Just for accuracy.
Are we able to print this up?
We can print it, Your Honor, but we'd have to just take another exhibit and then print it out and she can trace it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is that maybe the simplest thing to do is to simply print it
That
out.
probably would be.
And then we'll mark it as 117A and just have her put a line
Right.
indicating, you know, maybe she can do that in red ink if we have some. And then that will be the indication of what she's showing.
Can we do a screenshot of that? I mean, not screenshot, but just do another one. Keep talk of this if she's sure.
Yeah, I can do it.
Give me, if you can have a moment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We just mark this 117A. Okay, quick second. Wait, sorry. There's a demo today over here. Okay, so this is 117A. Okay, and then she can.
Okay, so Your Honor, the state is going to remove Exhibit 117 from the screen and place an identical screenshot marked as State's Exhibit 117A for identification, and we will have Ms. Weiss draw that.
All right, and then you'll print that out, correct?
Pardon me, Your Honor?
And then you'll print that out?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. You understand that, Mr. O'Connor?
I believe so.
Yes, okay. I just want to make
Does
sure.
that mean I go sit down or stand up?
It's up to you. Well, I mean, she's going to, I believe she's going to mark the exhibit through the technology that we're about to use, which,
Yes.
you know,
So
similar to what you do in the NFL. We'll make sure. All right,
Just
so-
another copy on that one. Have a seat. Now, using... Okay, you can use, using your finger, if you can draw a pathway where it's depicted that you believe the river to be according to the screenshot. Okay. And Your Honor, the record should speak for itself. Ms. Weiss has drawn a red line indicating where she believes the river to be. Now,
And we're gonna have this printed out,
yes.
and that'll be marked for identification purposes as 117A. States.
I'm sorry, 117A?
Yeah, 117A. Can you do that now, Ms. Jones? Are you able to do that?
Just,
But
when he's
Or are you gonna
finished.
do more with the exhibits?
Yes.
Right.
When he's
Oh, I'm
finished,
sorry,
I
I thought
can-
you were done.
Thank you.
My apologies. When you're done, let's do that, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, with this exhibit 117A, which has been marked for identification, you testified earlier that you saw a similar screen when you tried to ping Charlie's phone back on Monday, February 10th. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you tried to ping Charlie's screen, did your name Phaedra come off on that? Like it's shown in this screen?
Where hers was?
Right.
No, it did not.
What did you see? What did you see when you tried to ping Charlie's screen?
So Your Honor,
I'm sorry,
object
full.
as the best evidence.
No, this is her memory. This is from her recollection.
This is particularly when we have digital images that are subject to tampering.
Yeah, in this case, she's already
The
tested.
court will overrule the objection. You may describe from your memory what you recall seeing.
Okay, so what did you see when you tried to ping Charlie's phone back on Monday, February 10th?
I saw her name. It was exactly this picture, although her name was.
Okay, without, I'm gonna have you do that in a little bit, but can you explain when you said exactly this picture?
It was the same bend on Hana Highway that I saw. It had the same names, although Charlie's name was up top with that little exclamation point.
Okay, and looking at this screen in front of you, Space Exhibit 117A, are you able to mark on this screen where you saw Charlie's name?
I am.
And using your finger, can you go ahead and mark that, how you saw that, and in the area you saw it, correct?
Box and everything.
Whatever you saw.
Yes, right about here.
That's where you saw that.
Yes.
Now, Your Honor, this time, with those indications or markings on State's Exhibit 117A, the state would move this exhibit marked for identification into evidence.
No objection.
State's Exhibit 117A is marked for identification purposes, will be produced in hard copy print in a moment.
Yes, Your Honor, if I could just have a moment to just take a backup image.
Your Honor, just so that my objection is clear, that is just for what she observed, not for any truth of the matter asserted.
Your Honor, this is her testimony, so it is for the truth of the matter asserted.
Your questions were relative to what she observed.
That's
on the
Correct,
screenshot,
so it's not for the truth of the matter asserted, to be clear.
So it's what she observed
Correct, Your Honor.
on the screenshot. And we're gonna get that printed out here shortly, and we'll get it marked.
Yes. Take this off and do it, because I need to take it out.
Before you move on, I just want to make sure that
May
we'll
I ask for an instruction, a limiting instruction relative to that?
Let's first get the, I just want to make sure we have the hard copy. I want to see it too.
Just
Your Honor, may I ask that that counsel do this in a way that it's not visible by the jurors?
Let me just get my screen mirroring on.
Assuming that's possible.
Well, I don't know what's gonna pop up, that's part of the problem.
Sure.
So,
He's off the other.
Okay, all right, thank you.
and as soon as I connect the contract, it's on the Wi-Fi. So I just need to switch servers. Okay. There we go.
Mr. Prinkin.
Thank you.
For the record, we're going to look for a faster printer.
I'm also going to email this, and maybe I can set it from the office quicker. Oh, yeah. I got it.
So you can show that to Mr. Uphold. And then to the court.
You had to use Stephanie's stapler.
State's Exhibit 117A, marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the use of the exhibit is limited to what the witness observed on the screenshot, to include her drawing of the earlier location of the box on the earlier screenshot.
Your Honor, that is not being received to prove the truth as a matter asserted.
In terms of the language and location and so forth, is what you're saying? Just want to be sure.
I just want to make clear that it wasn't allowed in as hearsay. or any
It's
such.
allowed in to depict what the witnesses are,
That's correct, Your
for
Honor.
that limited purpose,
Thank you.
and not for general purposes. All right, proceed.
Now, Ms. Weiss, I'm going to show you some more exhibits, and these are marked as States Exhibits 110, I'm sorry, 107, 110, 112, and 113. Gentlemen, may I approach?
You may.
And they've been marked for
I'm sorry,
identification.
We've got 107, 110.
And showing counsel the same unit.
One zero seven, 110, 112, and 113.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may approach the witness.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Weiss, I'm going to show you what has been marked for the identification as exhibits, States Exhibits 107, 110, 112, and 113. And that's if you take a look at these.
Numerical order.
Okay, do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, I do.
And where were those photographs taken? At what location?
At our West Kuyaha house,
And were you present when those photographs were taken?
I was.
And do you recognize each one of them?
Yes.
Okay, beginning with States Exhibit 107, marked for identification. Do you have it there in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 107, what's depicted in that photograph?
It is of Molly's red truck, the one that we had driven out in, with her dirt bike in the back.
So that dirt bike, the dirt bike that's in the bed of the truck, that went out there with you folks to the Paraquats area?
Yes, it did.
And does that accurately depict the Molly's truck as it was, or as it appeared that night, Thursday night on February 13th, 2014?
Yes.
Okay, now going to the next photograph. States Exhibit 110 for identification. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
It is of all the items that we had found out there. So the blanket, the black pants, the gray jacket, Charlie's shirt and her skirt, and the empty tables.
Okay. And does that photograph accurately show or depict the items that you folks had brought to the Haiku home in that condition the way you see it now?
Yes.
And going to States Exhibit 112. Do you see that there?
Yes.
And what are we looking at there?
That is the gray jacket, and on the side it has the 2 empty tables.
And does that actually depict the gray jacket and the 2 tape rolls that was recovered and brought to your house that evening?
Yes.
And the last one, Space Exhibit 113, you see what that is there?
Yes.
And what is that?
That is the 2 empty tape rolls.
And is that an accurate showing of those 2 tape rolls that was brought to your house that night?
Yes, it does.
I have one more photograph to show you. Maybe something. Yeah, I'm sure council would have been marked as state's exhibits 109, 111, and 115. My push, Your Honor,
You
these
may do so.
exhibits. Okay, and Ms. Weiss, I want you to please take a look at these exhibits 109, 111, and 115 marked for identification. Okay, beginning with state's exhibit 109, marked for identification. Do you recognize that photograph?
I do.
And where is that taken at?
That is of Charlie's blanket, and it looks like the skirt is on top of that.
Okay, and the question is, where was that taken
Sorry.
at?
That was at the Haiku residence.
And does it accurately depict the clothing as you saw it at that time in that condition?
Yes.
And turning your attention to State's Exhibit 111. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and what are we looking at there?
That is the blanket and her skirt, Charlie's skirt.
Okay, and what view are we looking at in this photograph?
What was that?
What view are we looking at? Is it a close-up view?
Yeah, it is a close-up.
And the last exhibit is 115. And what are we looking at there?
That's the Twilight DVD.
And is there handwriting on the Twilight DVD?
Yes, there is.
Is that an accurate photograph of the Twilight DVD that you recovered from the Paraquats area and was brought to your home in Haiku area?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would move into evidence State's Exhibits 107, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, and 115.
Mr.
May I have a brief thought here, Your Honor?
Yes.
I guess before I ask you a question, may I ask how you prefer to be called? Would it be Ms. Weiss or Phaedra?
Either one is fine.
Do you mind if I call you Phaedra?
Oh, no.
Phaedra, you testified that when you got over to the Haiku property, you were consoling Brooke. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is.
And that you really didn't have any contact with any of these items after arriving at the property?
Yes.
Okay, where were you consoling Brooke?
It was in her car, her little blue two-door car.
So in terms of, well, let me ask you this. Do you know when these pictures were taken?
The ones that I just saw were that night.
Okay, do you know whether it was taken after you went and consoled Brooke or before?
It was about right after, kind of during.
And do you know, did you see who was taking the pictures?
It was the police officers that had came.
Would that have been a female or a male officer?
I had talked to a male. I believe there was a female.
Okay, you talked to an Oriental male by the name of Officer Takushi, would that be accurate?
I don't remember the name, but I do remember talking to someone like that.
Okay. So do you ultimately know who took the pictures that you're testifying about right now?
Not the actual name of the person.
And when you're testifying about that these photos are accurate, you're not testifying that they are accurate relative to, well, strike that. I have no further questions.
And as to these exhibits?
No objection to the admission of these pictures.
State's exhibits 107, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, and 115 marked for identification purposes are received in evidence. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. And at this time, the state is going to request permission to publish this to
Permission is granted, and you may start. You may use the pointer.
Okay, let's go in numerical order. Beginning with State's Exhibit 107, which is in evidence. Okay. Ms. Weiss, what are we looking at here, please?
That is Molly's car, and this is the Haiku residence. That's the front yard.
Okay, when you point, can you point to Molly's car again? Okay, so you're pointing to a red truck that's in the middle of the photograph?
Yes.
And the residence, whose residence is that in the background?
This would be the Haiku residence where Johnny, my mom, I live.
So is that one of the dwellings that you testified about?
Yes.
Okay, and where would the other dwelling be?
In the front, so.
And that's not shown in the photograph. Okay, now going to the next exhibit, numerically, State's Exhibit 109. Okay, and what are we looking at here, Ms. Weiss?
That is the blanket and her skirt.
What part of this is within the what part of the property is this located on that we're looking at?
That would be the front yard. The front yard, this is one of the little drive-ins. So that's where it would be, just right in front.
Okay, and let's go to the next exhibit. Exhibit 110. Now, at this point, the clothing is laid out. Did you lay the clothing out like this?
I did not.
And what are we looking at here?
Her blanket, the black pants, the gray jacket, tape rolls, her shirt, and her skirt.
Okay, and just for the record, as you're naming each item, you're pointing to each item with the pointer, is that correct?
Yes.
Going to the next exhibit. 111. And what are we looking at here?
That is a close-up of the blanket and her skirt.
Looking at exhibit 112, what are we seeing here?
This is the gray jacket and then the two empty rolls of tape.
And exhibit 113.
The two empty rolls of tape.
Is that the condition you saw the rolls of tape when it was first recovered at the Paraquats area?
Yeah.
And I believe the last photograph is exhibit 115. What are we looking at over here?
This is the Twilight DVD.
And you mentioned there was handwriting on it that you recognized. Can you just point to that with your pointer?
Yes.
And what does the handwriting say?
Twilight.
And is that how the DVD looked pretty much when you saw it at the Paraquats area?
Pretty much it was completely dry when I had seen it.
Okay, so it wasn't wet like this as you're looking at it right now? Okay, you can have a seat. Thank you. You know, at this time, the state has no further questions.
All right, we'll take a recess at this time.